Welcome everyone to Coin New Yen Review channel. Before we dive into today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share so more people can discover us. Enjoy the show. I was scavenging for scraps by the roadside when Miss Jinquin brought me back to her home. Her daily care enveloped me with warmth. She molded me into Jinquin's most dazzling prince. She even risked her life 3 times to save me. I saw her as the sole redemption in my life. I fell deeply in love with her. So when the old madam asked me to be her fiancé, I agreed without a moment's hesitation. I thought she loved me too. So when her rival ensnared her in a trap, I willingly offered myself as her antidote. That night she entwined with me in a frenzy. After that night, the world seemed flooded with passion. Outside the glass-walled castle, traces of our love lingered by the fountain. But when she awoke, her fury erupted. She yanked me from the bed, her face twisted with disgust, calling me vile, then locked herself in the bathroom repulsed, scrubbing herself over and over. My face paled. Only then did I learn she already had a beloved, forced apart by the old madam's command. The next day she brought him home, her indulgence and favoritism toward him unhidden. Watching her emerge from his room for the 99th time draped in his clothes, I stood frozen as she left his chambers. I dialed grandmother's number. I told her I wanted to leave. Her tone was stern, reminding me of my debt. I owed Cece 3 lives. Marrying Cece was repayment, yet I refused. I gave a bitter smile, saying she didn't love me. Staying would only torment us both. I vowed to repay the 3 debts I owed her, hoping then she'd grant me a new identity across the ocean, to let me leave for good. A long silence hung on the line. The old madam finally let out a barely audible sigh. She relented if Cece agreed. She'd no longer meddle in our affairs. Her words were like a key, finally unlocking the chains binding me. I hung up the phone. My heart plunged into sudden emptiness. Gazing at the wedding dress by the bedside, I couldn't hold back my sobs. After venting, I wiped my eyes. Tears dried, I began packing. 3 years married. My possessions were pitifully few. I pulled out a suitcase, staring at the remnants of a life once real. The trinket she gave me for my birthday under pressure, the shirt she told me to throw out, even the cast-off gifts from her true love, which she carelessly tossed my way. I treasured them like priceless relics. Looking at them now, each felt like a thorned whip, lashing across my body. Pain so deep I couldn't speak. I steadied my heart. Every item tied to Liu Cece, I resolutely threw into a black garbage bag, then took paper and pen from the drawer, sat at the desk, and meticulously listed her habits. One by one I chronicled her life. Her weak stomach needed warm milk each morning. No coffee on an empty stomach, as she often dieted. She preferred light flavors, disliked ginger and garlic, and the recipe for her hangover soup after socials. I recorded every detail in a ledger, handing the list to Nanny Wang. She looked at me, shock and pity brimming in her eyes. I forced a smile, though it felt uglier than tears. I told Nanny Wang I was leaving soon, asking her to care for Cece after I was gone. Nanny Wang gasped, asking where I was going. Was it a business trip? I shook my head, swallowing the bitterness in my throat. I said I was divorcing her. Nanny Wang's disbelief was palpable. She opened her mouth to question, but a cold, clear female voice interrupted. Who's talking about divorce? My heart clenched. I turned to see the woman stepping out. Her figure was tall and graceful, clinging to a handsome man's arm. That was Zhang Yiter, the man she cherished above all. Nanny Wang froze at the sight of them, her gaze toward me tinged with awkwardness. She opened her mouth, but only sighed and left. I looked at the woman and took a deep breath, calling out to Liu Cece, asking for 5 minutes of her time. I wanted to talk. Liu Cece's expression was icy. She glanced at me dismissively, clinging to Zhang Yiter. She said it was his birthday tomorrow. She was busy planning a surprise. No time, she said, kissing his face, then strode upstairs. Pain stabbed my heart as I grabbed her arm, but the moment I touched her sleeve, she shoved me away with force. My back slammed into the table's edge. I cried out in pain. Tears fell as I staggered. She wiped her arm where I touched, revolted. I struggled to my feet, my voice faint, begging for 5 minutes. I truly had something to say. Jung Hee sneered, his tone thick with displeasure. Was I trying to rekindle something by talking? Or seducing Cece? Or perhaps jealous of her planning his birthday? Intent on sabotage? She soothed him softly, her tone like icy arrows, denying I dare. If I did, she'd break my legs. She glared, demanding I speak quickly, lest I ruin Yida's birthday. She'd never forgive me. I said I wanted a divorce. The words lifted a weight from my chest. I waited quietly for her reaction. I thought she'd be thrilled. After all, this was her dream for 3 years. But instead, she gave a mocking smile, then strode over, gripping my throat, hissing a warning. Yi Xingyun. What did I think I was? A beggar with a dead father and no mother, daring to negotiate with her. 3 years ago, I climbed into her bed. Hadn't I foreseen this day, coming and going as I pleased? Was I Yi Xingyun toying with her? Her grip choked the air from me. My voice rasped. I insisted I was serious. Wasn't this what she wanted? I was letting her and Yida be. Liu Sis's eyes darkened, saying she needed no such favor. Divorce only over her dead body. Zhang Yida cooed, calling her Sisi. Didn't she see? I was just vying for her attention, saying cruel things to make her ache. How could I, who loved her so, want a divorce? She loosened her grip. I collapsed, gasping for air. Liu Sis's mood lightened. Smirking, she said I'd never leave her. Her eyes turned cold. She had no time for my games. Then left with Zhang Yida. I slumped to the floor, watching their retreating figures, and Zhang Yida's triumphant backward glance. My heart finally died. Tears streamed down. I called out to Liu Sisi, saying it was true. I wanted a divorce. I no longer loved her, nor could I ever love her again. The next morning, I learned the birthday venue was Shark Bay. Today was Zhang Yida's birthday. To win his smile, Liu Sisi spared no expense, chartering a lavish cruise ship at Shark Bay for a grand birthday celebration. I stepped off the car, climbing the cold deck of the ship. The opulent, bustling scene filled my heart with bitterness. In 3 years, Liu Sisi never celebrated my birthday. Only under grandmother's pressure did she toss me roadside trinkets. Never once saying happy birthday. I wiped my tears. Clutching the printed divorce agreement, I walked forward. Amid clinking glasses, the men and women who once fawned over me now cast pitying or mocking glances. I ignored them. My gaze cut through the crowd, straight to the woman, surrounded by admirers. Her head was bowed, held in the arms of Zhang Yida, clad in a tailored German suit. Their kisses were inseparable. My footsteps disturbed them. She looked up. Her eyes flashed with irritation. Zhang Yida's gaze still burned with unquenched desire. Liu Sis's tone dripped with unconcealed annoyance. Her voice cold as ice. Couldn't I see what she was doing? I'd better have something important. If I dared play divorce games again, she'd make me pay. The crowd burst into laughter. See, does your lowly suitor dare divorce you? Has he found another woman spurning you? Or perhaps, with Liu Sisi clinging to Zhang Yida 365 days, maybe even 366, the suitor's lonely nights are only human. Liu Sis's face didn't soften, but grew darker. She shot a cold glance at the speaker, silencing the crowd. I took a deep breath, suppressing the bitterness in my throat. I handed her the signed divorce agreement. Liu Sisi, I said, am serious. Let's divorce. My voice was soft, yet it exploded like thunder on the noisy deck. Zhang Yida's beautiful eyes lit up with undisguised glee. Whispers and gasps rippled around. No way, really. Didn't he love Sisi to death? Has he found a new lover so soon? Liu Sis's face grew colder. She ordered the crowd to shut up, staring at me. Her impatience faded, replaced by a shadowed, unreadable look. Her slender fingers snatched the paper. Without a glance, she tore it to shreds, the pieces falling like snow at my feet. Liu Sis's lips curled into a mocking arc. She laughed. Yi Xingyun, what a clever move. When I saved you, you schemed to climb into my bed, maneuvered to become the Liu family's son-in-law. Now bored, you think you can leave. Before her words settled, Her hand clamped my jaw. The force nearly crushed my bones. Want to leave? She leaned close. Her warm breath on my face. Her words, I see you owe me 3 lives. Repay them and I'll let you go. Otherwise stay put. And stop scheming. She released me, flinging me away like something filthy. I looked at her, confirming Liu Sisi. If I repay those 3 debts, will you agree to the divorce? Her teeth ground audibly, so eager to divorce. Is there really another woman? I didn't address her sarcasm, letting her assume I was after a new title. She laughed enraged, looking at me like I was vermin. She called me discarded trash, saying she wasn't so desperate to keep me. Then, she took the delighted Zhang Yida and turned away, leaving me a resolute, unwavering back. I watched her unyielding silhouette. My heart sank into an endless abyss, burning with searing pain. Yet it was a fraction of the agony in my chest. I stumbled to the ship's rail, where a massive glass tank shimmered. Under the lights, its water sparkling. Inside, young sharks swam leisurely, oblivious to the deck's turmoil. I stared at them, my eyes hollow, as if my soul had been ripped from my body. A tall figure blocked the light. It was Zhang Yi. He looked down at me, his expression dripping with disdain, his voice thick with unconcealed contempt. I heard, Sis is playing some redemption game with you, just because your father died. An old man, nothing more. Using that excuse to cling to Cece so long. You're truly shameless. The words old man burned like a red-hot brand, searing into my heart. I forbade him to speak of my father. I snapped my head up, my voice hoarse with rage. Zhang Yida flinched at my sudden outburst, a crack appearing in his arrogance. He raised his hand to strike, but his eyes caught figures approaching in the distance. His expression shifted to one of playful malice. His eyes still gleamed with venom. He leaned closer, whispering so only I could hear. Was I wrong? Your father was a wretch who deserved to die. His death was justified. His worthless life bought you a cushy marriage into the Liu family. Don't you laugh in secret at night? I couldn't bear it. Images of my father's death flashed before me. Grief and pain nearly buckled my knees. My mind buzzed. I screamed for him to shut up, not to speak of my father. I reached out, desperate to silence his venomous mouth. But as I neared, he seized my arm, a sinister smile spreading across his face. In the next instant, he fell backward like a broken kite, plunging into the shark tank behind. A deafening splash erupted, drawing every eye. Yida Liu Sis's anguished scream rang out. She rushed forward like lightning, diving into the pool without hesitation. To rescue the flailing Zhang Yida, she held him tightly, her eyes brimming with unbearable worrying and fear, piercing my eyes like countless needles, making it impossible to breathe. Zhang Yida coughed, drenched, lying weakly in her arms, his voice trembling. Cece, I was so scared I nearly died. He was jealous of your affection for me. He tried to push me into the shark tank, to kill me. Liu Sis's grip on him tightened. She whirled to face me. Those eyes, once filled with what I thought was tenderness, now held only cold, piercing blades, stabbing into me. Zhang Yida's words rooted me to the spot. I shook my head, stammering explanations. She said nothing. Rising, she slapped me without mercy. Burning pain exploded across my cheek, spreading through half my face. My ears rang. I clutched my numb, throbbing cheek. My vision darkened. It wasn't me, I said. He jumped himself. I didn't push him. I pleaded with all my strength. The ship had cameras to check. Before I could finish, Zhang Yida wailed louder, his body trembling, as if wronged beyond measure. Cece, I wouldn't lie. He called me the man stealing his wife. He hit me, and threw the 10-carat pink diamond ring you bought me at the auction into the shark tank. He sobbed, gasping, his trembling finger pointing at the tank. Liu Sis's tone softened. She whispered, I know, I believe you. Those 6 words choked my explanations. I knew no defense would matter. A few onlookers, her cronies, stepped forward to testify, her so-called sisters, naturally siding with Zhang Yida. Yes, Cece, we saw it. Your suitor pushed Mr. Zhang, no doubt. He cursed horribly, words too vile for a woman to repeat. My face drained of color. I stared numbly at Zhang Yida in her arms, his fleeting, smug smile like a viper's sting, chilling me to the bone. I stopped defending myself. No one would believe me. Zhang Yida pitifully clung to Liu Sisi's sleeve, his voice soft as water. Sisi, don't blame him. It's my fault. I shouldn't have angered Mr. Yi. If he retrieves my ring from the shark tank, I'll forgive him, okay? Liu Sisi gently stroked his hair, her tenderness dripping like water, a warmth I'd never known. She agreed, then turned to me, her gaze ice-cold, merciless, devoid of warmth, like I was a dead thing. She called for her men, her lips issuing the cruelest command. Push him in until he finds the ring. My eyes widened in disbelief. My blood froze in that moment. Liu Sisi didn't glance at me, issuing her order with indifference, as if I were an insignificant nuisance. I screamed her name, my voice raw with despair. My father drowned at sea, so I feared water and couldn't swim. She knew this, yet didn't care if I lived or died. My eyes dulled with hopelessness. I stopped struggling. Two burly guards seized my arms and shoved me into the icy shark tank. The cold water engulfed me, invading every limb. The piercing chill made me shudder. I thrashed desperately, choking on water, trying to reach the edge, clinging to the side, gasping. A guard's boot slammed onto my hand. Agony shot through me. I screamed, falling back into the water. In terror, I watched as the onset seal shark pups, now drawn by blood and noise, bared their white teeth, eyes gleaming, rushing toward me. Fear gripped my heart. Pain surged through my body. Dozens of sharks tore at my flesh. Their sharp teeth ripped my skin without mercy. Blood gushed out, swiftly staining the water red. The pool around me turned crimson. The color of the blood was more vivid than the red wine at Zhang Yida's birthday banquet. Pain dulled my senses to numbness. My consciousness began to blur. In the final second before losing awareness, I summoned every ounce of strength to thrust my head above the water's surface. Through my hazy vision, I saw only Liu Sisi cradling Zhang Yida. The birthday celebration on the yacht continued. Laughter and cheers mingled with their embrace. The revelry pulsed on, undeterred, unfazed by my plight. I knew then, in her heart, I was less than dust. My body sank helplessly. The icy water enveloped me. Liu Sisi's 3 acts of salvation I repaid with my life, then lost all consciousness. I awoke in a blinding sea of white. The sting of antiseptic filled my nose. My body felt torn apart by countless hands. Every inch of skin screamed in agony, unable to bear the pain. Terror surged from my eyes. Choked sobs escaped my throat. The hospital room's door creaked open. A graceful silhouette stepped into the backlight. She watched my writhing struggle, her beautiful brows furrowed tightly, urging me not to move. My body was bandaged, bitten and wounded as if I courted death. It was Liu Sisi. I lifted my eyes with effort, gazing at her familiar yet cold face. Once I had hoped to see ripples of care for me on that face. A rare unease flickered across her striking features. Then, she let out a barely audible sigh. I checked the footage, she said. After a pause, as if the words were hard to speak, he jumped in himself. She sighed again, saying, Yida is young and impulsive, fearing to lose me. He hurt you in a rash moment. Men are prideful. He couldn't bring himself to apologize. So I'm here to do it for him. The truth was finally revealed. But what use was this belated apology? The pain of the shark bites, the despair in that icy pool. Could a single sorry erase them? My grievances could no longer be contained. She saw my tear-streaked face. Her expression wavered, dodging my gaze. Your past was riddled with flaws. I had no reason to trust you. This time I misunderstood. Her tone was less an apology than a justification for her actions. One lacked the strength to speak. Tears poured unchecked, seeing me only cry. Her impatience grew. It was just a fall into water. The pool held only juvenile sharks. How dangerous could it be? Only a man like you would fuss. The word fuss pierced like red-hot needles, searing into my heart. She called me dramatic. My body trembled. My voice quaked with it, choked with sobs and disbelief. Liu Sisi, did you ever consider Those sharks could have devoured me, leaving not even bones. Did you ever think I could have died? My words seemed to sting her. She shot up from the chair, her face a mask of irritation and disgust. Enough, stop dragging this out. Consider it my debt to you. One of the 3 lives is repaid. Don't you just want a divorce and run to your lover? Are you satisfied now? She turned, unwilling to look at me, striding out. Her heels clicked on the floor, each step stomping on my heart. The door slammed shut, cutting off her retreating figure, and my last shred of hope. I couldn't hold back. Burying my face in the soft pillow, I sobbed loudly until my throat was raw, the pillowcase soaked with tears. Half a month later, I left the hospital, my body still aching, not fully healed. Liu Cixi never appeared again. Even the hospital bills were paid by Nanny Wang. That was fine. I only wanted to leave the Liu family, to leave this city, to start anew. But fate seemed to mock me. While waiting for a car, several men in black appeared, clamping my mouth and nose. Darkness took me as I lost consciousness. When I awoke, the stench of rust and mold filled my nose. I found myself in a dimly lit, abandoned factory, my hands and feet bound tightly to a cold iron pillar, the ropes cutting my wrists. Standing before me were the burly kidnappers and Zhang Yiter. I frowned, asking if he was behind this. Yes, it was me. Zhang Yiter crossed his arms, sneering down at me. His lips curled into a venomous smile. Yi Xingyun, surviving the shark tank was lucky. This time, you won't leave alive. I struggled, but the ropes only tightened. What do you want? Zhang Yiter gave a cold laugh. His eyes glinted with calculation and undisguised malice. He didn't answer. Instead, he signaled a man in black to hold a phone before me. One glance at the screen made my eyes widen in horror. My blood seemed to freeze. The phone displayed my WeChat chat with Liu Cixi. Just a minute ago, a message sent from my account was clear on the screen. Liu Cixi, I want you to love me. Her reply was icy and mocking. In my dreams, her heart held only Yiter. Then another message, dripping with menace and madness. Since you love Zhang Yiter so much, it'll destroy him. Liu Cixi's reply popped up instantly, brimming with fury and warning. What are you planning? Yi Xingyun, don't you dare touch Yiter. The final message from my account was vicious to the core. Your beloved Yiter is tied up in an abandoned building. Come in half an hour, or prepare to collect his body. I trembled with rage, my eyes burning. Zhang Yiter, you're despicable. He framed me with such vile tactics. Zhang Yiter laughed as if hearing a joke, sneering coldly. Despicable, so what? Cixi believes only what she sees. He finished, grabbing a roll of duct tape. Without hesitation, he wrapped his mouth tightly, leaving only his fear-filled eyes exposed. Then, the men unbound me, quickly tying up Zhang Yiter. He slipped into his act, gazing toward the factory door in terror, muffled whimpers escaping his throat, looking every bit the victim. Soon, urgent footsteps broke the silence. Liu Cixi's frantic figure appeared at the door. She spotted Zhang Yiter, bound and bruised. Yiter, her face paled, her voice thick with panic and fear. She rushed forward, kicking down the men, tearing the ropes and tape from Zhang Yiter. Cixi, I was so scared. Zhang Yiter freed, threw himself into her arms, his body trembling. Liu Cixi patted his back soothingly, then looked up, her gaze like poison blades, piercing me and the men beside me. My face went ashy. I opened my mouth to explain, but a man in black knelt pleading. Boss Liu Mre made us do it. I stammered in desperation, shaking my head. It wasn't me. They're framing me. Liu Cixi believed me. She kicked me fiercely. The force sent me crashing back. A loud thud. Warm liquid poured uncontrollably from my head. Blood pooled on the floor. Her cold, merciless voice rang in my ears. Yi Xingyun, I'm sick of your scheming and malice. You disgust me. She pulled the sobbing Zhang Yiter and left without looking back. It wasn't me. Pain throbbed in my head, blood streaming. I couldn't form a full sentence. Then darkness took me. I lost all strength. I awoke in the hospital. Struggling up, I grabbed the doctor, asking for Liu Cece. The doctor sighed, saying she was pregnant. She'd gone for an abortion. I thought of our night months ago. I lay back staring blankly at the ceiling. That was my child. Liu Cece didn't want it. The doctor whispered to rest, then left silently. Barefoot, I walked to her room. The door wasn't fully closed. Inside, I heard grandmother Lias, voice suppressed with anger, scolding Liu Cece. How could you abort the child? You fool! Falling for such a low trick. Discarding your husband's child for him. Liu Cece's voice carried exhaustion and a faint hoarseness. Grandmother, you know, I despise Yi Xingyun. I couldn't keep his child. It was about Yi's safety. I couldn't think clearly then. I was reckless. Reckless, you pushed Xingyun into the shark tank, nearly killing him. Now you've aborted your child. You've squandered all his love. When his heart truly dies and he leaves, what will you do? Grandmother's voice rose with anguish. Liu Cece answered with her usual confidence. Yi Xingyun loves me to death. He can't leave me. His divorce talk was just a ploy for attention. You're stubborn. Blinded by that man. Grandmother roared in fury. The door creaked open. Grandmother saw my hunched figure at the doorway. She froze, then sighed heavily, stepping heavily to my side. Child, we've wronged you. The Liu family has failed you. Her aged voice carried deep guilt and weariness. Now, you need to repay that final debt. I'll let you go. Tell me. She handed me a craft envelope, her eyes complex. It held a new identity and enough money for a worry-free life. In a few days, I'll arrange for you to leave this city to a place where no one knows you, to start over. My trembling hand took the heavy envelope, clutching it tightly, as if it were a lifeline. Thank you, grandmother. My voice was dried but tinged with relief. After I could leave, I quietly packed my things. There wasn't much to pack. I came to the Liu family with nothing, now leaving, with only scars and a broken heart. Perhaps Liu Cece felt a faint trace of guilt these days. Her attitude toward me visibly softened, though she rarely appeared. She sent her assistant, with expensive watches and luxury cars piling up by my bedside, as if they could make amends. The night before I left, Liu Cece stepped into my room, wearing a light sleep dress, her eyes flickering with unease. She tossed a velvet box into my arms. I paused, glancing at the box, then continued sorting my few clothes. Seeing my lack of reaction, her voice sharpened, asking if I wouldn't even look. She'd gone to an auction, carefully chosen, and fiercely bid to win a rare pink diamond. Yet I didn't even glance. Growing more ungrateful, I replied faintly, my voice calm without a ripple. In the past, even a cheap trinket, tossed carelessly by her, would have thrilled me like a child with candy, treasured carefully. But now, after betrayal and pain, anything tied to her felt heavy and ironic. I wanted no part of it. My indifference infuriated her. Her face turned livid, her chest heaved, but something made her swallow her anger. Stiffly, she said tomorrow was my birthday. She'd cleared a day to spend with me. Where did I want to go? I paused, then gave a bitter smile. My birthday had long passed. Tomorrow was my father's memorial. When you don't love someone, their matters don't matter. But I was leaving, so I let it go. I was about to leave. I wanted to visit my father, to tell him his son was unfilial, unable to stay by his side. I looked up, meeting her complex gaze. I said softly, I want to see my father. She froze, not expecting my request. She was silent for seconds, then nodded. She'd go with me tomorrow. The next day, her black Bentley drove to a somber cemetery in the suburbs. I stepped out holding a simple bouquet. Standing before my father's tombstone, I touched the cold stone. His smile still gentle. Tears fell uncontrollably, blurring my vision. Liu Cece placed the white chrysanthemums gently before the stone, bowing deeply 3 times, her expression unusually solemn. She turned, seeing my red, tearful eyes. A faint trace of pity flickered in her deep eyes. She opened her mouth to comfort, but her phone rang intrusively, shattering the cemetery's quiet. I ignored it but knew who it was. As expected, she frowned, pulling out her phone. Her expression shifted at the caller ID. She looked at me, her voice hesitant, but she didn't speak. I closed my eyes, saying softly, "Go." She didn't move as usual. Instead, she studied my face. Seeing I didn't mind, she exhaled, explaining it might be urgent. She'd be back in 5 minutes. She answered. Jung Yida's voice, thick with sobs and fear, came through. Even at a distance, I could hear faintly. Her expression changed. "What, don't cry. I'm coming now." She hung up. Her face showed hesitation and a trace of guilt. She said Yida's dog was sick, in bad condition. She had to check. I saw her anxious look, feeling it absurd and laughable. In her heart, Yida's dog outranked my father's memorial, even our unborn child. I forced a careless smile, telling her to go. I was leaving anyway. Nothing held me back. For the first time, she seemed guilty for abandoning me. She stepped forward to take my hand, but I instinctively pulled away. She withdrew awkwardly, her tone soothing. "Yi Xingyun, don't worry, I'll be back soon. I've booked a restaurant for your birthday. Wait for me." I laughed coldly inside. In 2 hours, my flight abroad would take off. "Liu Cece, you'll never find me." But I smiled gently, nodding obediently. "Good." She seemed relieved, gave me a complex look, then strode away. I stood still, watching her fading figure, until the black Bentley vanished. At the cemetery path's end, my smile faded, replaced by cold indifference. I turned, walking to a plain black car. In the shade nearby, I opened the door and slid inside, telling the driver softly, "To the airport." The car started. The scenery outside blurred. Familiar streets and buildings faded, disappearing from view. I closed my eyes, shutting out all the past. Liu Cece, goodbye, not farewell forever.